Virginia's new Attorney General praising Governor Glenn Youngkin for hitting the ground running. The newly minted Republican wasted no time launching an investigation into the Loudoun County School Board and named 5 new members to the parole board as well. Here to talk about it is the host of Sunday Night in America, former Congressman Trey Gowdy. One thing that's interesting here is you have somebody who ran, not a typical politician, right? He runs in Virginia, he wins, he surprised the Democrats, and then he's following through on what he campaigned on, and the Democrats seem a little stunned by that. Is this a model that other new candidates could follow in 2022?
I sure hope so, Dana. And by the way, congratulations to you and Bill on a 1-year anniversary. I'm not surprised two of the nicest people in the world have a successful show. I certainly hope so. I mean, imagine the novelty of running kind of a low drama. You're not talking about, you know, John F. Kennedy Jr. coming back to run with a reinstated President Trump. I mean, you're actually talking about things people care about. And then when you win, overwhelmingly, frankly, in a state that Biden won by 10 points, then you actually do what you said you're going to do. And it's not just Governor Youngkin. I mean, it's Winsome Sears and it's the Attorney General. I mean, imagine the novelty of doing what you said you would do during the campaign.
Yeah. Is Youngkin the guy, you know, sometimes you see this big push one way or the other. Is Youngkin the guy who can step in the middle of these progressive policies and reverse them?
I think he can, because I think what's going on, Bill, is, I mean, there's always been a debate in this country about the scope and role of government. And I think what people have seen over the last year, these that are kind of experimenting maybe with big government, you won't secure the border. You can't get us out of a war without exposing our troops and droning a car full of kids. You want to divide school children into racists and victims. How about just do the things that you're supposed to do? Crime, border, national security. So I think he is the right messenger to say, look, there are things the federal government ought to do, there are things the state ought to do, and then there are things parents ought to do, like, you know, chiefly be responsible for the health of their own children.
Later today, President Biden is going to give a speech and take questions from the press on his 1 year in office. And one of the things that you found today from Charles Lane in the Washington Post is this column that said, the legacy of Biden's first year is a stronger GOP. Do you think that that sounds right? After the tumultuous year that was 2020, now are the Republicans going into this year in the midterm in a much more cohesive unit?
I do agree with Mr. Lane. I mean, if you look at the numbers from a year ago, right after the attack on the Capitol, right after you lost 2 Republican Georgia Senate seats, I mean, the generic ballot had the Democrats at, what, almost 50%, and they've lost 9 points in a year? I mean, look, Republicans could not do that to them. They have done that to themselves, and I think they did it to themselves by letting the far left. I mean, imagine, Dane, imagine a serious person talking about closing federal prisons. I mean, just imagine who in your life that you take seriously thinks Dylan Roof, who killed 9 black Christians, ought to be out of prison someday. But when that's what the left is talking about, yeah, it is no wonder to me that people are kind of giving Republicans another look. The question is, will Republicans blow it? Will they blow it by fighting among themselves? Will they blow it by talking about things no one cares about? Glenn Youngkin, I don't think, was talking about the vote count in Arizona. I think he was talking about parents and curriculum and public safety and things people actually care about.
Yeah.
Remember, he also is going to get rid of the grocery tax there in Virginia, too.
In that piece by Charles Lane, what he makes clear, Trey, and big picture now here, is that the Democratic Party has to be, quote, brutally honest with itself if it looks deep into the numbers from that Gallup poll. But then he concludes by saying, essentially, you can't cut to the middle if the party won't go with you. And you know where the Democratic Party is today. Do you believe that's a party that's willing to shift back to a more center-left traditional governing pattern?
I think the Democrats have exactly the same problem the Republicans had about 8 years ago, which is the path to fame is disagreeing with your own party. I mean, that's what made certain Republicans famous. They disagreed with their own party. And so you have these aspiring superstars on the left who, look, going to the middle is not going to get them famous. It's not going to boost their social media or their fundraising. Only when you disagree with your own team do you become a martyr, and a rich one and a famous one. So I think they're in for the same growing pains the Republicans had about this time 10 years ago.
Great to see you, Trey. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Y'all too.
You're a nice guy too.
Yes, sir.
By the
Thank
way,
y'all.
so. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.